After voter photo ID became law in Wisconsin, it was up to the Government Accountability Board to implement it. Any rules the GAB created to do so would be subject to legislative oversight. But it didn't make any new rules. The GAB made new policies instead. However, the Joint Committee on Review and Administrative Rules suspected these policies were in fact rules and wanted to know for sure.
As a committee, it is our duty to oversee when agencies are putting forth the very specific parts of the law that we put forward. We're not debating photo ID today.
When the GAB came to testify before the committee on Tuesday about its actions, Democrats wanted to turn the investigation into a public forum about the law itself.
This is your constitutional right to vote. And if you are a student, you have that constitutional right to vote. And I don't like it when people are proposing or talking about eroding that right.
Nobody is taking away anyone's right to vote today. We're hearing from the Wisconsin Government Accountability Board on some motions that they have made relative to a law which has already had a public hearing, which has already been vetted by both the Assembly and the Senate. And we have a problem with some of the motions that they have made relative to are they rules. So we're not taking away anyone's right to vote. We want to hear from Mr. Kennedy, and we want to have him answer our questions. That's all we're doing here today.
I disagree with what you're doing. This is the rulemaking was made by the department. This is a public issue. This affects people in all throughout the state. They ought to have the right to be heard.
After Republicans established that was not the purpose of the hearing, Democrats then tried to argue the legislature does not have the right to question an agency like the GAB.
I was here when we created the GAB. We created an umpire. That's what they're, an umpire. They're supposed to negotiate or make the decisions. When there's a date, the umpire makes a decision. You don't go after the umpire. You accept a decision and you tend to, whether you like it or not.
This is super partisanship to have a political legislative body such as this made up by a majority of Republicans micromanaging the work of GAB, a totally independent body who everyone here agrees is nonpartisan.
So under your standard, we should never do any hearings on state agency issues.
No. This is a nonpartisan body that we're now turning into partisanship. You're going to micromanage what they're doing and saying we, and especially our governor, knows what's better for the people of Wisconsin than an independent body, the GAB.
But the governor and the legislature are answerable to the voters. The GAB, made up of appointees, is not. And if Democrats are correct, then the GAB answers to no one but itself. For the MacIver Institute, I'm Bill Osmolsky.